So first of all, thank you everyone for joining this session. We started this session a few months back as AstriCorps community. The reason behind it is to give an opportunity and also to share our experience, knowledge in working in the computer network, in data, and in other related fields. So the purpose is to build a community to share the knowledge and to support each other who is trying to get job or who is trying to go into next position in job role. So we are trying to help in that area. So learning is one thing, but also who wants to grow career in next level, we want to guide them and help each other in the career. So that's the purpose of AstriCorps community. So for today's agenda, what we are trying to cover is, first of all, what basic introduction, what we are trying to do. And then we will go into and discuss about computer networks. We'll go into a very basics today, right? We are not going into a very deep dive of computer networks, but we want to go in such a level that when you read some articles or blog, right, you know the terms and terminologies of computer network, so you can go through it and read yourself and have that understanding of network. So for that, we'll start with the computer networks, and then we'll deep dive into types of networks, how those types of networks are separated, and then we'll go into basics of IP addressing, which is the main component when we do network, right? Without it, we can't communicate. So that's a main component, and we'll try to help you to understand that bit. And then we come into the gateways and NAT. We're trying to, understand what is a gateway, what is a NAT, what is the purpose of it in the network communication. And then we have some demo. The demo is basically, we are trying to show you how to use a packet tracer or software provided by Cisco, which will help you to build a lab on your laptop and test your readings, test your knowledge, and build your own network so that you can prepare for your interview as well. So this Cisco packet tracer demonstration, what we are going to show today is help you to build your own labs, test your knowledge with those labs. So that's why we want to introduce that. So you don't need to rely on buying hardware and do the lab. So with packet tracer, you can do till CCNA certification. So that's why we are going to start with packet tracer today. So about us, Saurabh Dangle. So I work as a lead consultant in ThoughtWorks. So my journey is I started as network engineer, system engineer during my days in Nepal. Then I came to Australia, then started my data roles. Then today I'm working as a lead consultant in ThoughtWorks. So overall, my background is I was CISO instructor for multiple years. And then now I'm working in a data field, so in generative AI space. So that's my introduction. Over to you, Samir.
Thank you, Suraj. Yeah, let's start with my introduction now. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm Samin. I'm currently the client support team lead at Natura. I manage onshore and offshore teams in Australia, in Philippines, to provide high-performance IT support to our clients here in Australia, New Zealand, New Caledonia, and so on. So today, if we can go on to the next slide, I'll quickly start. So today we're going to be talking about computer networks, and we will introduce you to the fundamentals of computer networking. So let's begin. So as we can see in this image, computer network looks like a system. It looks like a system here, which is interconnected devices that can communicate with each other, and there's resource sharing. So let's take us as an example right now. Let's say me, Daya, Ruchi, Soros, we are in a network right now. So we are the devices. let's say we are the devices, we are connected via this video conference right now, and we are communicating with each other while I'm currently sharing my resource, which is whatever knowledge I have about computer networks. So that's a kind of real life scenario of what computer network is, if that gives you a basic understanding. So yeah, computer networks is a system of interconnected end devices or other devices that can communicate with each other and share their resources. Let's move on to the next slide. So let's talk about network components. So there are hosts, there are intermediary devices, there are network media. So we'll go one by one. So what are hosts? Hosts are basically end devices, mobile phone, computers, printers, servers, just those kind of those end devices. Those are the end devices. And these are these are the source and the destination of data in a network, and they typically have network interfaces, which are network adapters, which allow them to connect to the network. So hosts are basically devices that connect to the network. And talking about intermediary devices, they facilitate communication. These facilitate the flow of data or communication between the hosts, while they don't generate or consume. That means they don't gather data, but they play a role of, they direct, forward, process data across the network, which in an efficient and secure manner. So some example of intermediary devices would be routers, switches, modems, hubs. So those are the intermediary devices because they facilitate the communication. And then we've got network media. Network media is it's basically it's the medium that from which it's the medium from which data travels from one device to another within a network. And some examples would be, fiber optic cables, Cat5, Cat6 cables, network cables, essentially. And we've got wireless as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular mobile data networks. So in network media, it basically provides the pathway that connects all the devices together, allowing them to transmit data over that network. So in summary, host and end devices are where data originates, or they send or receive data, and intermediary network devices, they ensure smooth passage or communication of those data generated by the host devices. And network media is the medium through which the data travels. We'll move on to the next bit where we can have a clear view of what I was talking about. So this is a typical network setup for a small computing environment, small computing network environment. It demonstrates how different devices, wired or wireless, connecting with each other, accessing internet through different intermediary devices here, as in switch, router, and yeah, the server here, as we can see in the server, may be acting as a central point for providing some sort of service, or probably just a data storage, while router will manage traffic flow between the local network and the internet. So this is basically a small network environment, which shows what are the end devices, what are the host devices, what are the intermediate devices, and yeah, is it wired or wireless? So that's the network media. So next we've got computer network end devices. So in this diagram, it's trying to showcase a simple model of how users interact with end devices to generate, process, and consume data. So end devices again would be computers, phones, etc., which allows user to interact with the data. So, and if we check the green cog over there, that's the source, that's data source and destination. That signifies where data comes from. Is it the source, and where it goes? Is it the destination? So it could be a server, it could be database, or probably another device. And user interface, it explains the methods or mechanisms of which users communicate with or control the technology. Maybe GUI, maybe buttons, maybe keyboard or sensors. Yeah. So this basically shows how users interact with end devices. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so network devices. So what are switches and routers? Well, once you get into more of a networking role, or once you get into a corporate environment, if you are, if your job role is a network admin, or if you're basically dealing with computer networks, then you'll probably uh, hear these two words more often than you think. So switches, routers, switches, routers. Routers are like I don't know, are like traffic traffic uh, traffic cops of the internet. Yeah, they connect to different networks, like your home network, your LAN, that be LAN, to a bigger world, that be internet, that's WAN. We'll talk about LAN WAN in another slide, but yeah, again, coming back to routers, they forward data packets by figuring out where they need to go based on their IP addresses. So, and switches, switches is different from routers. It connects various end devices like computers, printers, again, same thing, all within the same network. Yeah, this lets them can communicate with one another by sending data around based on their MAC addresses and not the IP addresses. So in a nutshell, switch connects multiple devices to create a network. A router connects multiple switches and their respective networks to form an even larger network. That came straight out of Cisco website. So yeah. So page, sorry. Yeah, next. So we've got types of cables and media. So we briefly spoke about these earlier. These are the network media. Yeah, these are the physical and electromagnetic pathway that connect devices together to allow data transmission across the network. So we spoke about them earlier briefly. So this image that we see here, it categorizes them based on wired and wireless. So on the left-hand side, we've got three of them. That's twisted pair cable, fiber optic cables, coaxial cables. So those are wired media. And on the right-hand side, on the bluish cogs, we've got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular network. Those are the wireless media. So twisted pair cable, yeah, usually, Ethernet, used in Ethernet networks, Cat6, Cat5, Cat6 LAN cables that you can see in office or your home environment. Fiber optic cables, these cables are quite different than the Ethernet cables. They use light pulses to transmit data, enabling very high-speed, long-distance communication. And then we've got coaxial cables. These are the cables you can see for your cable internet, or if I don't use TV here, but in Nepal we used to have these coaxial cables for TV. And that's that. And another is Bluetooth again. Bluetooth is short range, mostly used in PAN. Again, PAN, LAN, WAN we'll be talking about in other slides. And Wi-Fi is it's short to medium range, while it can be used as PAN, as WLAN, cellular, that's 5G or 4G. It's more of a long range, it's wide area mobile communication. So yeah, moving on to the next slide, we have these images. So that's the copper wire there, and we've got a bunch of Cat5, Cat6 cables lying there. So you'll come across these wires in a computer network environment, in a wired computer network environment, fiber optic. So that's the inner part of the fiber optic cables, and on the right hand side, those are the cables. Then we got wireless routers, APs, access points there. So yeah, these are the images for cables and media. And we'll move on to types of network. So now we come into PAN, WAN, LAN, MAN. So this is what I was talking about in previous slides. So we'll go deep into this now in this slide. So networks can be classified based on their size or purpose or speed or the area they cover. Here we will be discussing these four: PAN, LAN, MAN, and WAN. So PAN is shorter range than LAN, LAN is shorter than MAN, MAN is shorter than WAN. So